Okay, welcome to the pattern tutorial for the pattern Dangun, which is a pattern for the yellow belt going for the green stripe grading. Now, if you're wondering why the camera's further away, that's because the pattern comes 3 steps forwards, so I'll probably end up going off camera. Okay, so again, this pattern starts in parallel ready stance. So you turn your toes in and jump B. And we're not going to go over the new moves, we're just doing a walkthrough on the pattern. If you visited the line work section for the yellow belt, you should know all the new moves already from your line work, so we don't need to go over the techniques again. Okay, so starting in parallel ready stance, the pattern starts with a left leg out, knife and guarding block to the left. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is look where I'm going, bring my left foot in, and take the weight halfway in front of the other one and bend this knee. I'm going to hold my eggs to the corner, the front corner of the room, straighten to an almost straight leg and step out. Knife and guard in L stance this way. I'm going to point where I'm going and touch my belt as I walk forwards and punch high section. High section meaning level with your eyes, okay, not up here, okay, level with your eyes. So now I'm on a big move, so I'm turning to the right. My right foot's allowed to move, so I'm bringing my foot back to the center, halfway in front of the other foot, straightening my standing leg as I put my hands out to the other front corner, step my right leg out and drop into knife and guard. I'm going to point where I'm going, and when I'm teaching this pattern, I get you to point where you're going, touch your belt, and then walk forwards and punch. But as it's a tutorial, you should do this as you're moving forwards. So as I'm moving forwards, I point where I'm going, touch my belt, and punch eye level. I'm on a little move with a low block to the front now, so I'm going to pull back halfway in front of the other foot and get ready. I'm going to look where I'm going. From on top, I'm going to straighten with a slight backwards movement and low block to the front. Okay, so now the pattern does 3 punches forwards, but I'm not just going to walk forwards 1, 2, 3. I'm going to concentrate on how to walk forwards like I taught you in Chonji. So I'm going to bring my foot to the central line, bent knees, straighten my leg, not fully straighten, my knees still soft, and then step forwards and punch. High section. However, I'm going to punch a little bit lower so you can still see me. I'm going to come to the center line, straighten, soft knees, drop and punch. High section. I'm going to come to the center line with bent knees, straighten to soft knees, and drop and punch. Okay? So those were 3 high section punches. This is the next new move that catches people out in this pattern. This is now back foot backwards. Okay, so I'm going to take my back foot and I'm going to turn around to the left, which is the opposite direction to what I'm used to turning. Okay, so this is where people come unstuck a little bit. So the best thing to do is put your left hand on your chest, move your back foot backwards and step it out. But before you do that, put your right hand on top to form a cross. Step out into L stance and the hand on top goes up and your other hand goes out to form the forearm twin block that you should have learned from your line work. I'm going to point where I'm going as I move forward. So I'll point where I'm going, drop my top hand to my belt, walk forwards and punch high section. So then I'm on a big move again, so I'm turning to the right because my right hand's up and my right leg's going to move. So I return back to the center, halfway in front of the other foot, cross my right hand on my chest and my left hand on top, step out into L stance and the top hand goes up and the other hand goes out. As I walk forwards now, I straighten my hand out to set up the reaction force and drop the top hand to my belt. So I drop the top hand to my belt, straightening this hand out, and punch high section, okay? The next move is low block rising block to the back, okay, which is in continuous motion. What continuous motion means is there's no gap. The first move goes directly into the second move. So I'm going to pull back to the center, halfway in front of the other foot, and look at my watch and get ready. I'll straighten with the backward movement, low block, and then this move would end and go straight into the next movement with no gap. Okay, so I would low block, bend my knee at the back so my heel comes off the floor, get ready again, and from on top, from my waist this time, because it's a rising block, straighten my leg out, and rock back rising block. So now I'm going to do 3 rising blocks to the back, and again, I'm not just going to walk forwards as fast as I can, I'm going to come to the center and out again. So as my foot comes to the center, bring my hand down to my waist, from on top, ready? I'm going to straighten and drop. Okay, and rising block. So I'm going to bring my foot to the center, bent knees, and get ready, looking at my watch from on top, from my waist. Straighten my standing leg, but still with soft knees, and drop. And again, I'm going to come to the center, drop my hand to my waist, from on top, straighten, and drop. Okay. So this brings us to the second time where we have to do back foot backwards. Okay, so when I do back foot backwards, I pull my leg in as I turn around. My hand's already in position, so from on top, straighten with the backward movement, step out, knife hand strike. Okay, as I walk forwards and punch. High section, level with your eyes. So last moves now, I'm on a big move, so I'm turning to the right because my right hand's up. So I'll pull back to the center, this foot halfway in front of this foot, straighten my leg as I do a slight backwards movement, step out into L stance, knife hand strike. This is the last move, so I'm going to walk forwards and punch, high section, kia, kia. Okay, so that's the end of the pattern. So the general rule is, especially for colour belt patterns, is whatever leg finished is the leg that comes back to ready stance. That rule does change later on, but for the most part, it's whatever leg finishes comes back. So I bring my left leg back to ready stance into barrow position. Okay, so that's your pattern dangun. So I'm just going to go over moves 13, 14 to 21 coming towards the camera. Okay, so there was a section halfway through on moves 13 and 14 where I did low block, rising block to the back. So I just want to show you what that looks like. Okay, coming to you. So coming in, halfway in front of the other foot, I got ready with this hand on top, straightened and low blocked to the front. The second move starts immediately. So I look at my watch from my waist because rising blocks come from lower, from on top. I bent my knee so my heel came off the floor, lean forwards so my legs straightened out, rock back, rising block, okay? And then as I walk forwards, I did 3 rising blocks. So as I walk forwards, my foot came to the center to a bent knee and my hand dropped to my waist. From on top, I straightened, but still a soft knee, and dropped, rising block 1, okay? As I come to the center, I drop my hand to my waist and get my hand on top. As I straighten my leg to a soft knee, I have a backwards movement and drop 2. So as I come to the center, I drop my hand to my waist. This foot's halfway in front of the other foot. From on top, from my waist, I straighten with the backward movement and drop into the rising block. Okay, so that's the sequence to the back that you couldn't see. So I hope that all makes sense, but that's your tutorial for dangun.